never going to be able to tell. It says I'm streaming, but it never actually lets me know full on, and I never believe it until I see it on the actual Twitch stream. So, oh, it looks like it's loading. Hooray! I think. Get past that gray box. Hooray! We got an ad for L'Oreal, which is odd, but okay, sure, why not? Hello, everyone. This is Chris again. The only one here, obviously. Not necessarily here in the chat room, although I assume that's the case too. But also the only one on the project and the only one who's ever done any dev streaming on it. So this is the August 18th dev stream for TextQuest, and it's gonna be a little over the place. We're gonna show you. I've been tinkering with Substance a bit, and we're gonna show you how I'm trying to implement a pipeline to get Substance in for texturing. It's actually a really nice effect. It allows me to do stuff with normal maps and just noise generation and all this sort of other stuff that really makes the textures pop out, so they're not this flat, plasticky look. In addition to that, we're going to do a little bit of experimentation with a text crawl view, because I'm thinking of redoing or adding on to the intro, adding another segment before the game officially starts, to give some context to why the player is exploring areas and such. But we won't get that far along. We'll just sort of mess with the text crawl, see what we can do with it. So we're going to jump right in here. And this is the entrance to the Terralakis. We've already textured this. And here is what it looks like with Substance. After putting all these textures through Substance, putting on normal maps, applying these noise effects. So you can see here, floor actually has, it looks like it has depth to it. It's just a normal map. But in addition to that, we have taken it into Substance and we have applied this sort of wood grain effect to it to give it a nice bit of texture. And we've done similar things to the Tori here. You can see the wood grain on the actual wood parts, and then the Namakis at the bottom are more of a matte sort of concrete, or I'm not sure what material they're actually made of. But it's got a bit more of a less of a wood quality to it, more of a plasticky, soft quality to it. The emblems, of course, have more metallic look to them. I might need to amp it up a bit because it's obvious that they're a different texture, but I'm not too big on that noise generation. It kind of just looks nasty. It doesn't actually look like metal. And the walls have similar additives. So we have the caves have a bit more of a sort of splotchy texture to them, while the wood grain has wood grain to it. One thing you might be noticing is these splashing white dots. It's something to do with Substance, and I'm looking into it. My guess is that it's because of the fact that right now the level is not light mapped, so it's recalculating the lighting for every frame for it. And I'm guessing that because if I turn off the dynamic or the directional light, and then look at it, it goes away. So I'm willing to bet that if I did a light map bake on this, it wouldn't have that those white splotches coming up. But for now, they're there. Of course, our stone area has a similar effect to it. I really like this actually. The texturing, I feel, or the added texture that normal maps bring to it, really make it stand out. And it's not that much extra effort to do this stuff. It's maybe a couple minutes extra setup to actually export it as a Substance. And I'll show you that pipeline in a bit. And something I've been debating, of course, it's reach, environment, main, caves, Terralakis path, waterfalls. No, not waterfalls. We want Terralakis entrance, Terralakis water. So I've been trying to determine if Substance water, which looks like this, doesn't look bad. It looks kind of wrong, I think. I think it looks a little too hard, with normal maps applied. Or maybe I just don't need to have normal maps for the words themselves. Maybe I can actually just ignore the words. Like everything else, the words are actually sort of getting bumped or carved into a surface. But maybe if I ignore that, it won't be so bad. Because if I if I take this, let's go back here. That's all the substance stuff, materials. And I apply its Terralacus flowing water. Apply this material. This is the standard material, which is what it was before. And I actually like this a lot more. It just looks smoother, like water would. So I need to experiment. I'm not sure which one looks better actually. But that's not what we're going to do today. We might get around to that actually, because the texturing pipeline isn't that difficult. So if we have some time at the end, I might come back and see what that looks like. So yeah, that's sort of the direction I'm planning on going, is taking all of the textures that I've done so far and redoing them with Substance so that I can have a lot more detail. And that also means that I'm actually going to upres all of my textures that are not 1K to 1K. So they hopefully won't look as bad. I probably could actually upres them to 2K, but we'll see about that, because the Substance files that it actually exports are pretty tiny. At least I think so, because if I go to Explorer and I look at this, it's the SBSR or SBSAR file. It says it's 10 kilobytes, but then if I look at it in Unity, at the materials that it brings in, or the textures that it brings in, it says that these are 256 kilobytes, 1 megabyte for a flat texture, which is dumb, and 1 megabyte. Why is that? That's because those are exported at 1024, and 1 megabyte. So I don't know. I don't know which to believe, the Explorer window, or maybe it's compressed in Substance and these are decompressed. I honestly don't know. It could be either of those things. But in any case, that's something for me to figure out later. Tonight, we are going to do some texturing, or some Substance Designer. Or apparently I had Twitter open and hitting M to select the marquee because I had the wrong window selected. Still getting used to 2 monitors. So here, this is the wall texture, and actually let me open up the level, because I can't do everything nicely. So castle quarters. If it loads. Okay, so right now this is the beginning level, and let's get rid of our. So this is the level that actually, if you download the demo, you'll start in this level. Why does that look wrong? That looks off to me. It could just be my monitor. My monitor seems to have odd colors sometimes. Everything, these yellows seem kind of washed out to me. Yeah, this is the opening area, and what we're going to do today, we're going to do some quick texturing. I think we're going to bring the wall texture, the tile floor texture, and the carpet, maybe? Yeah, let's do the carpet into Substance, and we will export them again as substances, and we will apply them in here so you will be able to actually view what the difference is. So, let me stop playing. So this is the wall texture. It's 512 by 512. And we are just going to go ahead and say image size. We're going to change that to 1024. And I do nearest neighbor because all of my textures are pixel, basically, or pixel perfect. So doing hard edges means that there won't get any soft expansion or soft interpretation. Or at least there shouldn't be. I'm seeing... Oh, that's kind of annoying. That might be okay. That might just be... That's probably fine. It's hard to see, but these side areas have 1 pixel. They're 1 pixel off, which is probably from the size expansion. Because go figure. But that means that it should be 1 pixel off to the right as well, so everything should still be lined up. That means you should be 16. Except you're 15. whatever. We'll see if it looks bad. So we're going to save that. We're going to resave that again. So we're saving that out. It's good. Then we're going to go ahead and add a bunch of folders because now we have a bunch of different things that we end up doing. So we have our base folder, which is our actual texture. This one does not have two materials, or two different surfaces on it, which is nice. So we're only going to need a height, not a height, and a normal. So with height, we're just going to go ahead and add a layer, new adjustment layer, hue saturation, and that's because we're going to grayscale this. Not much of a difference, but you can sort of see the graying effect. So with that grayed out, we can now save this as a PNG again with underscore height, if I could type. So this is our height map. Now that we have that, we're actually going to find it and bring it in, move it up, because for some reason it always gets moved down 1 pixel. Place that in normal. I'm going to rename it normal. And then we're going to rasterize it, except I didn't click on it right. So we're going to rasterize it. I'm going to turn off height and base. So now everything looks exactly the same, which is what we want. Save this again. And then I've downloaded, NVIDIA actually has a sort of suite for developing normal maps in Photoshop. So I downloaded that from their website, which, actually let me pull that up for you guys to see. NVIDIA, except it probably would help to say NVIDIA normal map filter, which it's this NVIDIA texture tools for Adobe Photoshop, and I guess I'll try to remember and I'll tweet this out for anyone who's interested in it. It's really convenient for me because all of my textures, I don't really have high-res models since I'm using flat surfaces for everything, but it helps if you don't have high-res models and you just want to make a normal map of a texture itself. You can actually download this tool set and install it into Photoshop, and it'll make one. So now that we have all of this, everything's grayed out, which is what we want for a normal map. We'll go up to Filter, NVIDIA Tools, and Normal Map Filter. So it opens up this little wizard, I guess is what it's called. And I've had to tinker with a lot of this stuff to make it actually work properly. And actually, you can always do a 3D preview, which is nice. Expand this a bit to make it easier to see. I'm still trying to get the hang of having the light in there because it's kind of awkward and it's hard to tell exactly where it comes from. I think it comes from the top and goes down. At least that's what it seems like from the shadows. But you can rotate this. It just makes it doesn't help most of the time. But at least it gives you some sense of what's up and what's down. And in this case, actually, I have things reversed, which I don't want. So I'm going to change this back to unchanged. Go back to 3D preview. Because ideally what I would want is I want my my divides to be sunk in further and my wall words to be sunk in as well, so that the actual blocks of the wall are sticking out, which it's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that's not what's happening. So if that's the case, I actually want to invert Y. Let's do a 3D preview. Okay, so that's what I want. And, man, it's so hard to move around in this thing. And the reason I want to do that is because when you think of, say, a brick wall, the actual, I can't even remember what it's called, the resin? Whatever. The bricks themselves are what stick out of the wall, and the resin holding them in is actually sunk in a bit. I want to say it's mortar, but anyway. Because of that, that's how I want to stylize this. So that's actually what I want it to look like. I'll hit OK, and then it was backwards. Of course it was. So we'll go back to Filter, NVIDIA Tools, open that up, and for some reason it went back the way it was. I guess it didn't keep my invert Y. Let's keep that. There we go. That's what I want it to look like. So we have this nice effect being laid out here. So with that, we're going to save that as castle wall underscore normal. So now we have all of our individual components. I don't know why Photoshop always dings at me like that. So that means I just have to open up Substance Designer. This is Substance Designer 5.1.4, I think. It's the most recent one. We're just going to do new substance. We know that our height and width are 1024 by 1024. New graph name is going to be the name of the file, Castle Wall. Castle Wall. Actually, I probably should call it Castle Quarters Wall. Although, actually, you know what? Castle Wall is actually probably better. And we're doing physically based metallic roughness. Unity actually doesn't have roughness, it has smoothness, but the roughness output can be interpreted for smoothness, so it's okay. And then everything else is good as at the default, so we're going to make it. So now that we're in Substance, we actually have these 4 outputs. We have our base color, which is the actual color of the object, the normal, which is the normal map that you saw us generate, and the roughness is how rough the object is, and metallic is how much metal it is, either 0 or 1, although it can actually be a value between 0 and 1, which gives it a... Normally you don't want to do values between 0 and 1, from what I understand, because then you have an object that's neither a plastic nor a metal, which in 3D modeling looks weird, but TextQuest is kind of awkward, so a lot of stuff actually ends up, if it's metal, it's never fully metal, it's more like it's 0.25 metal, just to give it a tinge of that metallic look to it. And roughness is all over the place depending on what's necessary. So most of this is pretty easy. We actually are just going to create a new folder. Call that resources. And then we are going to go back here and we're going to import the files that we generated. So we need our castle wall normal and our castle wall. We don't actually need the height map. The height map is useful for generating the normal, but it's not really needed anywhere else. So we're going to link these resources, because I don't really need to import them into the project because I would just be duplicating them. And if I want to change those resources later, I would have to re-implement them and do all that stuff, which is not fun. So these are the 2 files that we need for this. Everything else is going to be generated within Substance itself. So we have a castle wall. So this is our actual texture that we exported from Photoshop. We're just going to hook that up to the output for base color. And you can see here on this cube that gets generated, which is, the light on white is not great. But actually that'll be more tolerable when we change the smoothness or the roughness and the metallic output. Although I think metal we don't actually want to change. So that's good. I'm just going to hit D, which actually docks it. And that's because we don't need to see the that node, because we're not going to do anything with it. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and add a node, a uniform color. And I'm going to make this a grayscale, not a color. And we're just going to attach this to roughness. And I can actually turn it up here. So this is now a really rough surface. And by rough, it means it's not glossy. It's more like a matte. And actually, this is what's weird about roughness. Roughness is inverted smoothness. So when I bring this into Unity, I actually want roughness in Substance to be really low, because smoothness gets interpreted as, if an object is set to be 1 rough, which is white, then it gets interpreted as 1 smooth, which is purely smooth, which is the opposite of roughness. So I actually want to have 0 roughness in Substance so that I have 1 smooth or 0 smoothness in Unity. So I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to dock it again because I don't have anything fancy I have to do with that. Same thing down here. It's going to be another grayscale value. I'm just going to hook it up to metallic. It's going to be black because we don't want it to be metal. White means it's metal. Then we're just going to dock it again. Now, something that I do so that I can adjust these values later if I want, I don't anticipate doing that, but I always want to make sure that I can, is you can actually expose these parameters so that in Unity I can edit them. So I can go down to, I've clicked on the, I'll undock it. So I've actually clicked on the uniform color that we made for roughness, and I'm going to go to output color. There's this little squiggle here that's representing the graph. So we're going to manage this and say expose. So when you expose it, you have a couple of options. I'm going to make a new input. I'm going to call it smoothness. Hit OK. And hit OK. So now, instead of controlling this substance in controlling this output in Substance right here, I can't actually change it anymore. And that's because it's actually being managed by the graph itself. So you can see down here I now have an input parameter called smoothness. And it is a float one, it's a grayscale, all that stuff. And I can comment them if I want. But I'm not going to because I'm lazy. So I'm just going to dock that again. And we're going to do the same thing for metallic, except we're going to call it metallic. So we're going to expose it. We're going to hit new and call it metallic. Hit OK. Hit OK. So now we have that value exposed. So if I click on the parameters, you can see we have smoothness and metallic, which is good. Those are the two things that I want for this. That way, if I bring it into Unity and I need to adjust those values, I can. So now comes the fun part, which is calculating the normals properly. Now normally, or the easy way to do it would just be to hook up this normal map, be done with it, and you can see, sort of, that we have some lighting effects. So you can see that it looks like the wall and the actual mortar are sunk in a bit, and that's fine, but it still looks sort of plasticky and flat. So we don't actually want that. And on further reflection, I might have actually made a mistake. This might be too much white. I might actually have to bring it into Photoshop and dim down that white a bit. But we'll see how it turns out. So we don't actually want to do that. So I'm going to click on that and delete it. And that's because we want it to have, say, a stone texture. So to go through this, I'm going to grab a noise. And there's a lot of built-in noises to Substance, which is really beautiful because I'm terrible at creating these things. So we're just going to go microscope. No. I think we're just going to do dirt. Dirt's pretty easy to use for this. So we're just going to do, say, dirt 2. So this, as you can see, is a texture that's black and white. And it's using that as values for a height map or normal map or whatever you need to apply it to. So we're going to actually add a node, say normal. And that takes a grayscale image, which our dirt 2 is, and it outputs it as a normal. So if I connect this, and I click on it, you can actually sort of see these splotches here. So now if I were to connect this, you would see splots on, I don't think splots is a word, splotches on the actual wall, which is fine as is, but we don't get that nice sort of popping on the lettering and the indents like I wanted. So that means we actually have to blend these two together. So to do that, we are actually going to do add node. Oh, let me delete this. So I don't have to do any fancy masking, which is nice. So actually I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go over here to normal map on the side, and I'm going to do normal combine. So that lets me take two normals and combine them into one calculated normal. So now you can see here, I'm getting both normals compiled together into one normal. So now when I connect this, I get both the lettering effect and the splotching of the noise generator. So I kind of like that, but it looks a little nasty actually. Because remember, this is inside a castle, so we probably are thinking that the castle is going to be a little more consistent than this. So let's get rid of this noise generator. And this is the nice thing about Substance Designer, is that you can just work on this stuff and you don't have to do a lot of complicated, worrying. Or it's the phrase that they always say is it's completely non-destructive, which is actually really cool. It's basically like Photoshop, in the sense that you have layers, except you have nodes. Substance Painter has layers, but I haven't done much with Substance Painter, mostly because I don't have the skill set for it yet. So let's go to, let's try this one. We want something a little more uniform, because we just want to give it a sense of roughness without worrying about splotches too much. And we can actually, you can see that they have sliders for this, so we have random seeds that we can do this with to test it. Wow, man, direct light on this thing is just not a good idea. We might have to, let's look at it from behind, make it a little bit easier on ourselves. So I'm liking it. I might try actually making a mask and making it so that the stones themselves, so that not the texture and not the mortar, are are polished while the mortar and the text are not. So to do that, I'm actually going to go back into Photoshop, and we're going to open this up. We're going to add a mask layer. Masks. And inside that, we are going to... Let's see if I can do this properly. It's probably not going to be easy. It might actually be easier to sort of cheat. Pull in the height map again. And I'm actually just going to select the parts of the height map that are... Let's hope this works properly. Okay, so that one. Great. Oh! No, that's not what I... I shouldn't shout into the screen. I've learned. I should learn better than that. Okay, so I might... Actually, no, that'll work. So I'm going to cheat. I'm basically going to select everything that isn't the... man, why did I have to have an A? It could go so much faster. Basically everything that isn't the textures, or the text or the mortar. And, man, no, it's fine. And hope that I don't screw up when I do this. Knowing me, I will. So we're going to keep selecting this stuff. So the reason we're doing this is so that we can make a mask of what is text and what is the actual brick. And once we have that information, ooh, that's not a good thing. There we go. Let's see how badly I have done this. So we're going to move, go one up. We're going to fill this all in. Of course I did it backwards. Excellent. Okay, so now that we have that, we can actually delete this and move this. So now we're going to say load selection, and then select inverse. So now we have everything that's not that text selected. Hit X, and then... no. Dang it. Crap. Man, you mess up even once. Is it feathering? It's feathering! Why are you feathering? Boo! Boo! Let that be a lesson to you kids. Feathering is... it was automatically feathering. Boo! Or was it? Was it feathering, or was it because of the expansion? No! Dang it, really? Nope. Okay, that's because I had that layer up still. Of course things can't be easy. I had to pick a really annoying texture to do this on. So we're just going to cheat. We're going to get rid of you. Go add another layer to masks. We're going to go back to divides. I'm going to load this selection. Hit OK. We're going to go back here. I'm going to fill you in. Of course I filled it in with white. So now we have the divides actually masked, which is nice. And we're also going to cheat by duplicating the text, moving it up here, and then we're just going to, merge group. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off my base. So now you can see that all of the text objects are in one layer, so I'm going to just load selection. Okay, and then we're going to fill that in. It can never be easy. It can never be easy. Let's go up here. Maybe this will be better. Yay! Okay, so now we can get rid of the original text. Text mask. Call this divides mask. And then the last thing we need, I'm going to be lazy here, is just the base mask, and that just has to be white. So since I have these layered this way, I don't actually have to care about what needs to be filled with it. So that is all of that. I can save, and now I'm going to export this as cast a wall, another PNG, underscore mask. Okay, put it back here because I like to have that. Now back in Substance, I'm actually going to bring in cast a wall mask, link resources, plop that in here. So now we have this bitmask, or this gray image, or grayscale image. I can't talk today. Grayscale it. And we're going to do some fancy stuff with this. So instead of blending these two directly, what we're actually going to do is... Well, actually, no. These guys want to... Yeah, we got to do some weird masking stuff down here. So we're going to move these a little bit to the right. They're out of the way. So we are going to have a add node, a uniform color, and we're going to make it a grayscale. Now we're going to add a blend node, and we're basically going to blend all of these things together using this mask to determine what should be stone and what should be the mortar. So we're going to use, this is the opacity. I think this wants to be the background and this should be the top. Correct? Yes, that's what we wanted. So now, when I bring this in, only the mortar is affected, which leaves the actual stone to be, or the actual brickwork to be smooth, which is really, really nice. So now I can have this sort of polished look and have the actual mortar be a bit rougher. So with that, that might be a pretty good spot to bring it in and test it. I'm going to organize my nodes a bit here because I get a little too obsessive about having order. I can't do it all the time. It's not that nice sometimes. Okay, so that little bit of wizardry. If I really want it to actually work, I probably should do some. Let's go back to quarters. Save this out. So we've done that. Let's export it real quick. Quarters. That's a wall. Okay. So now we have. Oops, wrong thing. So now we have this castle wall SBSAR substance file. So if I go back to Unity, let's go to close all this stuff. Intro, castle quarters. I'm going to make a new folder called substances, or substance. And now I'm going to pull in castle wall.sbsr. So you see we have the actual material here. If I open it up, we have the textures that it pulls in, which is nice. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply it. Whoa! Hello! Really? It messes with my UV layouts. That's interesting. I think this is the first thing that it's actually messed with the UV layouts on. I wonder why that is. Well, that's interesting. It goes beyond simple texture size different. That shouldn't actually matter. Oh, interesting. It gets imported at 512 by 512 texture anyway. Huh. Interesting. So that's really weird. Unity floating all over the place here. Let me try applying it to the outside. Yeah, it messes with the outside too. That's interesting. All the other times I've done this, it hasn't actually done anything to the UV mapping. I don't even know why it would be doing this. We have our normal map, which is what we want. Metallic. Weird. I'm going to try reapplying the previous material and see if that works. So maybe castle wall. Oh no, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I probably was stupid. Castle wall. Ah, I tiled it. I think I can do that with castle wall here too, but that was sloppy on my part. Gross. Fine, so let's do 10 by 10. Ah, gross. I hate doing that. So this was because this was the first level I did when I started modeling in Maya. So there was a lot of stuff that got hacked together. I'm probably going to actually have to come back and just redo this entire thing, which is fine because the section I was talking about earlier on in the stream about adding on to the beginning of the game is going to be before this level. It's going to lead to you being put into this room. So it's probably fine that I'm going to have to remodel it completely anyway. Everything's off scale anyway. But for now, we should be able to just flop in here and see what it looks like. And actually, this isn't going to be too noticeable because I'm going to have to rebake the light map, I think, to get the full effect. So, why don't I do that real quick? Let me go back here to lights, baked, turn on baked. I could have sworn that I... Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, oh dear. This might be both. It's mixed, okay. So we're going to go to lighting, and we're going to clear it. This is probably going to be really fun. Oh, I need... It has the directional light, okay. So we're going to save, and we're going to build. So now we sort of sit back and watch as my computer slaves to build a nice light map. I need to get more RAM. I only got 8 gigabytes right now. I need 16 at least. But that's my own fault, you know, finances and all that. I'm not made of money. Yeah. So how's your guys' day going? Anyone doing anything exciting? I'm just going to assume that someone said something exciting and be like, that is interesting. So we're on 15, 16, computing. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, so now if we go in there, let me turn off the baked lights. Save this. Now if we go in, should it be a little more pronounced? Yeah, you can see the... It's a little harder. Well, it's hard to see, but it's popping out a bit more. It actually looks like it has some depth to it. Actually, I like that as an effect. It gives it a pretty good differentiation between foreground and background, which is really nice. It's a little fuzzy right now, but I think upping the aniscopic filtering will take care of that. Yeah, I like that. And I don't think I'm going to have to make a different material for the, or a different smoothness gradient for the foreground and background. They seem pretty good when they're matched up. So, do this. I hate when it closes all of my folders. It bugs the crap out of me. So I can actually up the aniscopic filtering to 8, and that makes them look much nicer. But I think it actually forces Substance to recompute whenever it's brought in, which is not great. But yeah, see, I shouldn't have been lazy and tiled this. So that means that I'm going to have to... Well, nah, we've already gone through that. So that's sort of the pipeline for that. So the tile one will actually be a little bit easier because we're probably not going to... No, we are. It's going to be about the same because we're going to do it with the text. So, but it's also gonna be nice because we're gonna have a smoothness gradient probably, or smoothness differential between the two. So let's go back to Photoshop. Actually, we'll go back to here. So we're gonna open up Castle Tiles, This is also 512 by 512. We are going to simply go to image, image size, go 1024. Everything is correct. Hit OK. So now, I'm curious. It looks like either I'm crazy or it bumps everything over by 1. No, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't. No, it's not even wide enough. Okay, never mind. False alarm. Just me being crazy. So again, since this is an older texture, we don't have to actually make the texture itself, which is nice. We just have to make the actual normal maps and all that. So we keep the base. We're going to add 3, because we're going to have a mask. We're going to say the first one is height, not height. Height. Second one is masks. And the last one is going to be normal. So once we have that, we'll just go to layer, new adjustment layer, saturation again, and desaturate it, which I don't even think is actually necessary because it's already black and white and gray. I think that's actually correct. Okay. Well, just in case I just have like a slight off gray or something, I could have like a slight bluish gray or greenish gray tint. It's hard to tell. So with that, oh, and actually before I do that, we're gonna want to export this again as Castle Tiles because we want to make sure that the exported file is 1K. So go back to height, turn that on, export this as Castle Tiles _ height. Hit OK. And we'll do the masks while we're here. And the masks actually are going to be pretty easy. So we're going to duplicate these, copy this up to masks, merge group, and we're going to just select, and we're going to fill that in as white. Oh, except we will actually have to make everything else black, won't we? So let's load selection. Load inverse, select inverse. And then we will just color that black. I really don't like being zoomed out to 66.7 because it lets me see the whole texture, but it makes everything look soft. And when I zoom in, I can actually see how crisp it is. I want to have crisp textures. So this is going to be tile mask. And this is going to be text mask. Put that above that. Okay. So we can save that out and turn off you guys. Save this out as Castle Tiles mask. Okay. So that's all in there. Then last thing we need to do is, of course, bring in the normal map. So make that. Let's turn these on, make sure that it doesn't shift. Is it? Nope, it seems to be okay. Move normals. Turn off height and base. Rasterize this. And then I might be able to just hit Control F. Oh, but that did not... See, you can hit Control F to use the last filter that you did, but for some reason that doesn't quite... Oh. Right. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about the tiling effect. I was thinking that it would just be... I might have to use the mask for this. Yeah. It's actually going to tile wrong here. Okay. So we're going to not use you, and instead we will duplicate you guys. Move you up here. Merge you. I'm going to use you. So I'm going to do filter. What else am I going to turn off this? I'm going to do filter, NVIDIA Tools, normal map filter. Do 3D preview. I think I want to actually invert it. It's hard to tell again. Yes, I'm pretty sure that I do. Let's invert y. No, maybe not. So now it actually looks like it's wrong. So no, that's correct. It's really hard to tell sometimes. Actually, no, I think that's backwards. Well, we'll pull it into substance and then we'll see. So we'll do normal. So we can delete you and close you. Save, Control that, or Shift Control S, PNG. Normal. Okay. Close all this, open this up. Always does that. Always bugs me. So this is our castle wall one. We don't need that. We can just do new package. Right click on it, say new graph. And it's going to be all this again. So this one we're going to call castle tiles. And everything else is correct. We want it 1024 by 1024. We want it to be physically based metallic roughness. Hit OK. Again, we have our 4 basic outputs. We're going to need to add a folder for our resources. And then we're going to import all of that. So we're going to import the PNG, the base color, the height, and the mask. Again, we don't really need the normal. Or not the normal, the... crap. I grabbed the wrong thing! We do want the normal. We don't want the height map. Link resources. So we can actually get rid of... Yes. And the nice thing is these are all linked, so if I have to make changes to, say, the normal map because it's inverted, I can just save it out and it'll automatically update. Save this. It's going to be all correct again. Okay. So again, it's going to be sort of a similar thing that we did before. We're going to grab our base color, connect that to base color, and then just dock it. We don't need to do anything else with it. So we can rotate this around a bit. It should be a little easier to look at. Go ahead and add. So this one, it's actually going to be weird. We're going to need to use the mask for the normal, the color, or the roughness, and the metallic. Well, actually, no. We won't need it for metallic. We will need it for roughness, though. So I can actually do a uniform color down here. Make sure it's grayscale. Plug that into metallic and just dock that. We'll expose it later. So here's our mask. Grayscale that. And let's drag out. We'll do normals first this time because I've already shown you that. Which means that our last filter, or our last node is going to be normal combine again. That's going to be down here. And that's going to be here. So you can see we have... The easiest way to tell is if... Oh, where's the light? Light is coming from this direction. Okay. So, light is coming from the right. If the left side is lit, then that means the normals are pointing down, except this one, the normals are pointing up. So that is not what we want. Oh, really? Quality was set to low? Well, who knew that I've been exporting low-res textures all this time? Well, at least we caught it early on. The more you know. Okay, that's good. But it does look like they are inverted, in the sense that they're not where I want it to be. Okay. So that means we want to go back to Photoshop, and we're going to re-export this normal. I'm just going to Command Z, actually. There we are. So we're going to go to Filter, NVIDIA Tools Normal Map. We're going to invert Y. Just looks so wrong. Like this looks like it's popping out at me. But you know. Castle tiles normal. PNG, save this out. Hit OK. So that should be out. If we go back to substance now. Looks sunken to me. It's hard to tell sometimes without a second opinion. Yeah, that looks sunken. So you can see the light is coming from the right. And let me So we can see the light is coming from the right, and it's darker on the on the right side, and it's lit on the left, which is what we want. That. See, now I don't see it being lit up, but it looks right. We'll probably have to bring it into Unity before I can actually tell. Okay. So let me pull this back down. So now we're going to go ahead and start the... oh, well, what are you? Okay, I just lost the... Okay. So, to do the normals again, we're going to need to do a masking with noises. And we're going to use the same thing that we did before with this, which I believe was Dirt 1, from the looks of it. Okay, so we're going to grab in Dirt 1. And then we are going to have a blend, and of course we're going to have a uniform color for the top. And we're going to change this to grayscale. So now everything's grayscale. Add this to the foreground, make this the background, and make this. Let's recompute it. That did literally everything except what I wanted it to. I think I can just reorder these actually. It should be fine. Yes, that's what we wanted. So now, we're going to add a normal. Connect this and connect this. So boom! We have tiles that I'm pretty sure are popping out. Ah! I can't tell! Can't tell if I'm being paranoid or if it's actually popping out or not. Maybe that means that the normal values are... Well, I mean, they shouldn't be that. They should be really noticeable. And they look like they are. It's just I'm not able to tell. Well, we'll see what it looks like in Unity. Maybe I'll like it better. Anyway. So that's that. Let's reorder these. So that's the normal I'm taken care of. But the normals aren't all we have anymore. So this means we're going to have a different roughness for the tiles, or the actual word tile, and the tiles themselves. So that means we have to get a little more creative with it. So we're actually going to sort of move this stuff up like this. Move this a little closer. And then move this up. So that way we have a little more space to work with down here. So now we're going to need the... I guess I don't need this in here twice, do I? Let's just bring this down here. So we're going to do something very similar where we have this blend with this blend node and the grayscale value bitmap being used as a mask. So we're going to add a uniform color, make it a grayscale. We're going to add another uniform color, make it a grayscale again. Then we're going to need a blend node. And this is going to be here, this is going to be here, and this is going to be here. And oh, right. So we're going to make this white, which is what we wanted, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. Or is that the opposite? That's the opposite of what I wanted, actually. So I want you to be black, and I want you to be white. Which means that this should be backwards. Because remember, for smoothness, white is 1 on roughness, which is inverted smoothness in Unity. So 1 roughness would be totally rough in Substance, but is completely smooth in Unity, which is what we want for the tile effect. So we plug this in. We'll basically get the opposite of what we want. And that is actually not that bad. I like that. So do I have a reroute node? I thought I did. No, maybe not. Oh, well. I thought that they had a node that was specifically used for just having nicer organization, and I think they do. I just don't know where it is. But it's not that bad. I'll just have to do this sort of awkward approach. Anyway, so now we actually have 3 values that we need to expose. We need to expose the smoothness of the tiles, we need to expose the smoothness of the word tile, and we need to expose the metallic value overall. So this is controlling the smoothness of the word tile. So we want to do expose, do a new, and I'm going to call it text smoothness. Hit OK. We're going to expose this. I'm going to call it tiles, or actually I'm going to call it base smoothness. Okay. And then the last thing we have to do is expose this, which is metallic, and we're just going to expose it, set it as metallic. Okay. So all that stuff's in there now. It's a bit more of a complicated graph. And normally, if I have multiple materials like this, I actually do have to do sort of a similar setup that I have for the roughness with metallic. But that's only if I have a texture that contains both a metal and a non-metal. And in most cases, I don't do that, but the sewers has an example of that. So that's all there now. So if I export this, castle tiles, hit OK. So now we should be able to go back here and, wrong thing, and pull in castle tiles. Drop that in here. Let's go ahead and up this to 8 while we're here. Let that recompile. And we have this nice, I'm 90% sure that those are raised. Well, we'll see in a second. I still can't tell. I'm pretty sure they're raised. Who knows? I'm 90% sure that they're raised. Again, to see the full effect, I would have to actually go into... I would have to rebake the light map. Although I can tweak these values at least. So if I want base roughness to be 0. And it's not as noticeable as I would like, but it might actually not be. Maybe like 10. No, of course not. And again, I don't know how much of this is because it's not light mapped. So if I do like text smoothness, it's not really showing up. Okay. So let's go back to lighting. Let's clear baked data. Let's turn on our baked lights. And I might cheat real quick and do... If I do auto, it's going to take a while to build anyway. So we'll keep it as is, and we'll just rebuild the lighting. See how that goes. Yeah, that's my one thing about working with normal maps is I can. It's very easy sometimes for me to not understand which way it's pointing, like what's getting popped out and what's getting popped in. Sometimes it's really easy to tell which one is which. A lot of the stone stuff that I did for the caves area, that was really easy, but for some reason this tile stuff is giving me trouble. And I didn't have any problem with the wall that we just did. So it's something about these tiles that's messing with my head. Don't know what. But okay, so it's got to re-import that. And then we'll see. Not much of a difference though. Let me turn off baked. Command S or Control S. Let's see what it looks like. Not bad. Not as smooth as I would like though. Although I do like I like the difference that the texture or the tile has in it. But I really want to up the glossiness of the tiles themselves, because that way there is a nice juxtaposition across the board. I'm not really getting that here. Like it just looks like it's flat. which I don't particularly like. So I wonder if... wonder if there's a reason for this. Because, I mean, it's as smooth as I can get it. And if I... let's do the original material. I mean, it looks about the same, actually. The new version actually looks better because of the normal mapping. Who'd have thunk? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something I'm going to have to tinker with, see if I can get a nice smoothness to it. Because it seems like the material itself should be smooth, for shits and giggles. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, turning anything into metallic just completely negates it. It makes it impossible to look at. I do like 0.25. Yeah, it's still not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just something I'm going to have to tinker with. But it doesn't look bad. So with that, we have both wall and tiles now. The wall, I think, looks really nice, actually. I like that. I was really tempted when I started doing this to have the noise that's generated to add to the normals be text as well. And God, it's tempting, but man, there is a limit. Because at a certain point, that stuff actually... oh no, I forgot that I did something really odd with these guys. At a certain point, the returns are diminishing on the concept. So if I did that, it would be interesting for a little bit, but man, it would be really hard to always do that, because then I would have to be making two textures instead of only making one texture and then generating the other one from it. Are these the same texture? So yeah, they should be. So this tile, it's not much of a noticeable change between the two, but I think it's good. Adds a little bit more variety. And I'm planning on doing stuff with like post-processing for the actual end sort of overlay, but I haven't really done much with post-processing or much with shaders in general, and that's a whole new learning curve that I'll have to go through, which will be super fun. So I've had you guys for about an hour. I think I could make one more texture. We do the carpet. I'm pretty sure that I wasn't stupid when I made the carpet. Pretty sure. So close this. New package. Make a new graph. Well, actually, before we do that, let's go to Photoshop. Let's close you. Let's get rid of you. Call this normal. Actually, I want to open you up. Ooh, oh right, the masks. There we go. So now everything's back to where it should be. So go back here, and I want to open up Castle Carpet. Okay, Castle Carpet. So, go base. Two different backgrounds. No, I turned that off. Did I do that? I think I made a conscious choice to do that. Probably because that darker shade of yellow just looks nasty. So we're going to save that. It might be okay if I change. Because this is what it looks like in game. And if I look at that over here, oh, wrong thing. Doing it this way would make it easier in Substance. But would also change. Yeah, it's not that bad. And we'll try it without it. See how that looks. Okay, so we got our base. And again, we're going to need 3. We're going to need our height, our masks, and our normal. So for height, this one we definitely need a adjustment layer. Saturation. Okay, let's just knock that down. And then, boom. So before we do that, let's PNG, resave that out. Oh, I almost forgot. Cancel. This is probably 512 by 512. Yep. We're going to upres this again. Image size 1024. Hit OK. Everything looks good. So let's hit this. Now we got to export that. Okay. Grayscale it. Oops. PNG. Underscore height. Turn you off. Except I actually need you on. And ooh. No, it's going to be okay. That's not that bad. So we're going to have duplicate these guys, drag these into masks. We're going to merge them so that we have one distinct layer, which is good. Close this off. So we're going to load selection. Oh crap! Load selection. Hit OK. Do a new layer. We're going to make that white. Delete you, and then that's going to be called the text mask. And then below that is the base mask. And that's going to be black. Okay, so that looks pretty nice. I'm going to save that out as mask. And then, once that all is said and done, we're going to bring in our height map, which is probably fine. Okay. Making sure that it's not shifting by 1 pixel, because I would completely believe it if it did that. Rasterize layer. Let's go back up to filter, NVIDIA tools, normal map filter, and we 3D preview this. Let's expand it a bit, make it a little easier to see. And in this case, we probably actually want comes in from the bottom. And yeah, so they're indented right now. We actually want them to be outdented, I guess. So we should want it to, yep, okay. I'm pretty sure that it's outdented now, or whatever the appropriate term is. Hit okay. Yes. Rename this to be normal. Not nominal. Normal. Control-Shift S. And PNG underscore normal. Okay. Now that that's all in there, we can go back to here. We're actually going to make a new graph. It's 1024 by 1024. I think we call it Castle Carpet. Yes, we do. Not cast. Castle Carpet. Metallic roughness, all that stuff. Make a new folder. And resources. Go ahead and pull in the base, the mask, and the normal. Those are the 3 that we use. views, link those, hit OK. Alright, so as far as base goes, we just do that. Dock it, we're done. The mask, we are going to end up using, what are we going to do for all three? I don't think, not for all three. Well, maybe. We actually might. Have a normal combine again. See, now it looks indented. I can never win. In any case. So now we're going to have a mask. Switch that to grayscale. And actually, I probably don't want the mask to be that. I probably want the mask to be that. So that's going to be trim mask. And that's because the carpet textures, or the carpet text, is going to be the same material as the carpet base. Back here. You can say reload. Oh dear. What did I save it out as? Oh crap. I saved it, right? Or did I go crazy? Oh no, did I save it as Castle Tiles mask? I think I did. Castle Carpet mask. Yeah, let me guess. Let me just try Castle Tiles mask. Yeah, I tried to. Okay, yeah. That figures. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. So that's going to be our mask. We're going to need to add uniform color. And then we're going to add a noise. And this one's going to be fibery, I suppose. I haven't done carpet yet, so I'm not sure what. We have messy fibers. That might not be. Let's look at it. I haven't seen this. We'll try it. Do a blend node. Make this grayscale. Okay. Oh, and actually, so we want that top to be another noise, which we could make. Just do vertical noise and this real quick to test it. This is what that's going to look like. We make that a normal. Connect it and connect it. Wow, that's really apparent. Okay. Let's maybe go down a bit. It's really intense. It's really intense. All the way up to 10. Okay. And this I actually need to do apply a transformation 2D. This is going to go in its place. And that's because I want to rotate this 90 degrees. That way the trim has its effects sort of facing outwards alongside it. Is that gonna... Do I need to recalculate this? No, it seems to be going just fine. It's just not very noticeable. It's annoying. Yeah, I think this might be a bit much. Try Messy Fibers 4, maybe. Nope. I'm gonna be mad if that was the exact same one that I tried. Pretty sure it's not, but yeah, it's just too much. Yeah, I guess we don't want to do messy tiles. Black and white spots. Let's just see what that looks like. Not bad. Not crazy about it though. Kind of trying anything to see what it looks like. Part of it is probably that the plasticky look is making it difficult for me to... I'm going to do a quick add node, uniform color, make it grayscale. Roughness all the way up to 1 and then dock it. So that way I can see what it's going to look like, at least. See, because when that's rough, that's not that bad. I actually kind of like that. Gives it a nicer matte look. Now the trick is going to be the trim. Which doesn't seem to be that noticeable, really. It's a shame. I've also been exporting these normals the wrong way. Under DirectX, and I want them to be OpenGL, otherwise it won't render on Mac. Oh well, fun times all around. I'm gonna try to finish this up real quick. That way I can show off the. Oh, alright, I forgot about that. Save that out. Sort of text. I don't know if I mentioned it. I have a text crawl I'd like to show off. Nothing fancy. It actually took me like 5 minutes. But I think I'm going to stick it at the beginning of the game as a nice sort of intro to TextQuest. So this is all in here. Do we like this? That nice matte look. I do kind of like how smooth. I just wish that it was more pronounced than that. I wonder if I can tile this. I might be able to. I think I can do a add node. Oh, there's tiling. Just try this. It's just not really that noticeable, I don't think. Which is a shame. But that's a little bit more noticeable. Okay, so we'll just leave that as is. So that's good on the normals. And now we're going to have to do some... you know what? Not gonna make that a different metallic or roughness. I think I'm going to just keep them the same. So that's actually going to make things a lot faster and easier. So these are just going to be uniform, grayscales, dock. So we'll expose this again, call it smoothness. Oh, crud. Okay, no, never mind. Smoothness. I thought since I hit OK, it wasn't going to work properly. Hit OK. Come back here, expose. Do metallic. Hit OK. Hit OK. And boom! Just like that, we're good. I'm going to change smoothness down to be 0 because we want it to be 0 rough. So all that should be fine. So if we save this, publish it, God, carpet. Okay. Should be able to just plop it right in. Castle carpet. And let's go ahead and do that while we're here. Should just be able to add it right to it. Yeah. Gives it a nice little bit of a matte effect. So it'll be easier to see me apply it here. So that's the original texture. And that's what it looks like with the substance. So original, let me scroll up so that we can see the carpet as well. So that's the original, and here's the substance. So original, substance, original, substance. It's actually nice. The substance, the normal maps make the text even crisper, which is really nice. Really good. So I play this. Yeah. It's pretty good. Largely incremental improvements, but I mean, it's the small stuff that really makes things nice. I mean, that's why a lot of the steps taken in here are to help the player get immersed. I mean, it's the... Pretty sure I showed it off way back at the beginning. That's the whole reason that I ask you a couple of questions at the beginning, that like, are you left-handed, what's your favorite color, and all that. It's so that we can fill in information to make it nicer for this. Yeah, devil's in the details and all that. So that's the substance pipeline that I'm working with. It's nothing incredibly convoluted. If you've ever seen people who actually know what they're doing with substance, you'll see some graphs that are just incredibly large and complex webs of nodes, and the really good ones that I've seen are just really elegant too. And I lack that skill set right now. So last things, real quick to wrap up. I'm just going to show you a text crawl. I'm going to go to scenes, test, menu test. I already coded it out. So, right, there's no text right now. Oh, also, my code is stupid. Really, really stupid. Start, move. So I just got to do some quick edits to the code to make it so that when it opens the menu, it'll reset everything and do things right. Okay, so now let's let that compile. Oh, and I'm also going to grab a lot of things that I opened because I was... Hold on. I got this. Okay, so that's all compiled now. But if I hit play, it's not actually going to do anything because I didn't specify what text I want it to spit out. So I have this sort of test text here. And I'm going to put in this, which it's going to be formatted weird because I copy pasted it from a weird spot, but ta-da! Except it looks like it's scrolling wrong. Am I crazy? Ah, screw you. It's scrolling wrong. Hold on. Let me not maximize on play. Let me see what it looks like. Oh, I know why. Because I'm stupid and... Oh, actually, no. I'm not stupid. Unity is stupid because of the way it does rect transforms. So I have, let me just drag this over. I have this piece of code that, this is just the text, this is the entire code for the text scroll menu. Um, and whenever it opens up, it should reset everything so that it's in the correct area. The problem is apparently setting the scroll area local position, which is the area that's actually being moved, to vector 3.0. Even though right now it's at the bottom of this, at the bottom of the, can't talk, of the menu, and its positioning is all set to be 0, it's actually not at vector 3.0 because its local position is actually negative 360, even though that doesn't show up here. So that means that I can't, oops, I can close this. I don't actually need Photoshop open for the rest of the stream. So that means that this code won't work, or at least I can't say move the local position. So if I comment that out, it should actually scroll properly. That's really annoying. I have to do some weird magician stuff. Oh, and of course, maximize on play for full effect. So it's a text scroll similar to what Star Wars does. Like I said, it's formatted wrong because copying it from where I did, it was all just one piece of text. But I think I want to do something like this at the very beginning of the game, just to play with text again. You know, I want to try and put in as much sort of playing with the actual format that font is presented in and all that, just to have fun with it. I don't think I need to go anywhere else in particular. So, although I will do one thing real quick programmatically before I forget. So this should be able to fix the problem I was having, which will just be a private vector 3 start pose equals vector 3.0. And then normally I don't like doing this, but sometimes it is useful. Private void awake. I don't like to declare variables in awake. Start pose equals scroll area dot local position, and then we can just simply say scroll area dot local position equals start pose. Okay, so now if we reload this, it has its uses for stuff like this, where you need to cache an area at the begin of where it is at the beginning. But otherwise, I try to avoid doing stuff like that. That's still wrong. Incredible. Its own positioning is not. The place that Unity says its start position is incorrect. Oh crap! I don't want that. I don't want it to maximize on play. So yeah, never mind then. Except there, it's right. Maybe I'm just crazy. It just looks wrong here. Because it is. See? So it's wrong here. But if I don't maximize on play, then it's right. So, fun thing about Unity, I guess. It's, well, maybe it... Yeah, no, it's definitely screwed up. Okay. Well, that'll be something for me to figure out. Or try to force Unity to not be dumb, I guess. Go figure, though. But yeah. So that'll be it, I think, for today. Went through some substance stuff. And like I said last week, I think I'm going to switch to a once a day or once a week dev stream, just because grad school is starting back up for me, so my time's going to end up getting eaten by classwork, and work and grad work do not mix well with trying to make a game. Go figure. Who would have thought that working 20 hours in grad schooling for 20 hours and probably more don't leave a lot of time for game development. So, hopefully, some of that substance stuff was interesting to people today. And I think next week, so we're not gonna have one. We're not gonna have a stream on Thursday. And I think next week we will still do it on Tuesday. That seems to be actually a pretty good day for me to do this stuff. But it's going to be more of a report thing, I think. Maybe sort of try to solve one or two issues, just see what I can do. Because I'm still trying to mess with the format, make it interesting for you guys. I'm not sure what's more entertaining to watch. I assume it's not just me doing stuff for an hour. But yeah, that'll be it for